Welcome to Lose Weight, Feel Great. Amplify your energy and feel radiant again. Here we teach you simple changes to create a healthier you and transform your life. My name is Joanna Peterson, and I created this summit to inspire people to reach their optimal health. I'm here today with Dr. Grace Liu. Hello and welcome.
Hello, thank you so much for having me, Joanna.
Oh, thank you. It's my honor. How are you doing?
Oh, today is phenomenal. I love today. It's
Good.
been going awesome.
Wonderful. Tell me a little bit more about you and your work.
I am the founder and creator for formulas at the Gut Institute, and we're an educational platform. Our game is all about gut health, and our ultimate goal is to heal 1 billion guts. And I also teach clinicians and coaches our protocols. We have a 50-hour gut certification program where we share and have small groups and continuity to study cases, and we share our protocols so people can use them on their cases and get faster results. And they're all based on my practice, where I help executives and multitasking smart moms and all kinds of athletes, Spartan racers, Ironmen, Iron women. I work with a lot of MMA fighters also. We do their supplement programming. We help people reduce body fat, brain fog, and fatigue in 6 months or less.
That's amazing. That's fascinating. It's all in the gut.
Not a lot of it's the gut. Yeah, we must look at the gut. It's just we've had so much damage, modern damage, as you're aware, with antibiotics and stress, and what parents have in their gut doesn't get transformed to the child anymore. That linkage is broken. So we need to reestablish it, and it takes a little bit of work. And then what we see is recovery of health improves. People get energy and endurance. They lose weight easily. If they have risk for cancer or coronary artery disease or diabetes, these all go away. These improve really quickly.
How does pesticides affect your gut?
Not very well, studies show. And they're shown to not help the microbiome of the soil either.
Mm-hmm.
After use of pesticides in the soil, there's shown to be fungal overgrowth and all kinds of pests and toxic bacteria overgrowths. And that's what happens to the human gut too, after antibiotics or other things that kill off our good gut flora. So I actually created a probiotic so we can combat what we lose through pesticides, glyphosate, triclosan, hand cleaners, super sanitization with alcohol wipes, and too much soap, too much shampoo, and antibiotics. We can restore actually a lot, and then it helps all our gut flora to come back. Here in the Western world, we probably have lost 1/3 of our species in the gut that normally we would have, or compared to Europeans or farmers in America who are a lot healthier. I'm not talking about pesticide farmers, but maybe those that don't use chemicals like the Amish out in Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Yes, we're using way too many here, especially in California too. All the wine crops.
We have so many ways we're killing our gut. Yeah, and here in California, we have flame retardants. They're required on all the bedding and mattresses and sofas. And so for the whole country, a lot of sofa makers and bed makers, they just have changed the regulation to be like California. And these flame retardants are terrible for our ecosystem also. And cats, they'll lick themselves. I had cats that died really quick when we switched to seafood. It turned out seafood may be where not only mercury gets concentrated, but also flame retardants and many other chemicals that come from our industry. Yeah, and the second I started feeding them wet seafood, wet fish food, cat food, they were dead. All my cats were dead in a year. Wow. So our oceans are contaminated with so many different things, and heavy metals, and maybe glyphosate, and pesticides, as well as everything else. And I think they're like the canaries in the coal mine.
Mm-hmm. And now with the fake lawns, also when it rains, the water washes everything off, all the toxins that are on the fake lawns that goes into the ocean. Then it's the
exactly.
rain, we're bathing in it.
We're totally bathing it, breathing it, eating it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you have specific protocols for weight loss that you're using in your Gut Institute?
Yes, we do. We actually have an 8-module class. That's a master gut class, really entry level, really simple for people to consider. We love testing. So it actually comes with all the test kits people need so we can know truly what's going on in the gut. So what we've seen is people have gone through our gut class and they lose weight if they're trying to lose weight. We have some friends and clients in the class, they're cachectic. They can't put on muscle. Either they've had chemo, radiation, cancer treatment, or they just are hard. We call it hard gaining. As you work with athletes, right, Joanna? Some athletes, they eat all the protein, they work out, but they can't grow their muscles. And so they're not as strong as other athletes. This affects whether they're ranking well, fighting well, or hitting the podium or not because of their strength. So what we do is when we work on the gut, then they instantly become more insulin sensitive and they're putting on muscle mass easy. And they can make gains 10, 20, 30 pounds on muscle very quick in just 2 or 3 months or less. But people who are trying to lose weight, they lose a lot of weight with our class. We've had people report losing 30, 40 pounds, 50 pounds with it. So we're really happy to hear that. Sometimes people just add our probiotic only. That's all they do. Like my CrossFit coach, all he did was add our probiotic. And the first week he lost 8 pounds. And he had struggled with this little tire around his belly. And he had done a lot of things to try to lose weight and he couldn't. But just adding one thing, for him, he needed probiotics and then he instantly lost weight. Everyone's a little different. Their composition, their gut is different and their health factors are different. So not everyone gets the same results, of course, but what we see is better health metrics across the board.
Wonderful. Yeah, it strengthens the immune system. It helps also with constipation because a lot of
Absolutely
are constipated after taking antibiotics. The gut flora is off.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you had good results specifically with this probiotic?
We have. I formulate it so it would really emulate what we see at the mucosal lining. And particularly these strains are also found commonly in mother's milk. And when we see healthy guts, they're a composition in all healthy guts nearly. So we have 7 species of bifido and lactobacilli. And one of our main ones is called bifido longum. So it's associated with longevity. It was discovered in Japan. And these species are highly related to longevity. And they're found in high concentration in people known as centenarians who live to 100. These centenarians, when they live to 100 and they're in high concentrations around the world, there are cities like Bama, China, Crete in Europe, Italy. There's many other places like Okinawa, people are kind of more familiar with in Japan. So these little small areas where there's high concentrations of really healthy people who live long lives, we can study them and learn a lot. And what we see in their gut is that they have really great diversity. They have these strains that are all present that are found in a lot of the healthy microbiome studies. And bifidolongum is one of the highest ones that they have.
Wonderful. May I ask you what motivated you to get in this field?
I actually developed a chronic health issue somewhere along the line. I had a birth control Mirena IUD, and it just completely toxified me. I have a couple of genetic variants. I don't clear hormones very well. And all my life, I actually had something going on. I was either overweight, I had Hashimoto's, and then I developed this horrible 8-year-long chronic fatigue. And I jumped to functional medicine after 20 years in the conventional field because I just couldn't get any help. And once I went to functional medicine, I learned a lot of protocols. A lot of things actually didn't work for me. I had to develop kind of new protocols to really look at what was going on in my health. And then my health really came back. And my immune system normalized.
Good. Are there any specific foods that you recommend, especially for gut health?
Yes, actually, for people who are trying to lose weight and trying to improve their gut, there are a couple things they can do on their own, actually. One thing we really think is a great idea, unless they're allergic to histamines, is to drink about a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar at meals, diluted in a cup of warm water. The purpose of the warm water is it really helps our enzymes to function at their best. And so it can fully degrade all the food when we have that great acidity in the gut. And apple cider vinegar has been shown to actually help with weight loss. It actually mimics what our good gut flora, including all of these really good ones in here, these make something called a short chain fatty acid known as acetic acid, which is another name for vinegar. So when we have really great gut flora, we have great acidity in the gut. It has many purposes. It lowers pathogens, it's antifungal, antiviral, and plus these short chains, they feed other parts of our body and even parts of the Krebs cycle and the mitochondrial energy production. But when we're missing it, we don't feel well, and then we don't start digestion. And then we also have a lot of overgrowths. So we can mimic it a little bit by drinking a little bit of apple cider vinegar at meals. And that helps to mimic what we normally would do. Yeah, some other things people can do when they're trying to lose weight. Unless they're bed bound, they can consider walking or jogging 10,000 steps a day. This is an integral part actually of our 8-module gut program. And the reason is because exercise is associated with better gut health, better diversity, less pathogens, more of the good flora in almost every exercise study that's done. And we just don't move around enough. Even I'm guilty, Joanna.
Oh, I hear you. We're too busy.
I know. I need to move myself, just get myself to the gym or get myself outside onto the trail, and then I'm fine. But sometimes just getting there is my biggest problem.
Yeah.
And then I don't feel well. Yeah. And then my weight, starts to track up. And then when I'm not exercising, because my gut's not happy, then I crave other foods that I don't really need to eat, like ice cream or sugar, right? Or more alcohol. But when I'm actually doing all the exercise, my gut is really great and I feel like it's more diverse. And then those cravings are all totally gone.
Yeah, if we could all just go out in nature and go for a hike, balance our body,
Yes.
grounded. So
if we could all do that, yes.
Yeah. How do you feel about fermented foods?
Oh, I am a big fan of fermented foods. I used to make a lot of sauerkraut, especially the purple sauerkraut. And it's actually quite a lot of work, right? It can be a part-time job, 10, 20 hours a month or, twice a month, to get it all done properly. So I have had to let that go a little bit. I'm a big fan of buying it at Sprout or Whole Foods now.
Yeah, I make it.
Your family's so lucky. That's awesome.
I come from a background where my grandma used to ferment. So I was born and raised in Germany, and
yes,
Greece. And this is something that we would do traditionally. It's something that is in every household.
Just like in Korea as well, too. Grandmas, aunts, many generations all together are preparing the cauldrons together, right? The crocks and cauldrons. Yeah. And that was like our natural medicine. And also we got to see each other and really enjoy each other's company and catch up with everything. That's such a lost tradition. How do you feel about that?
When I go back home, I help my mom and we get back into it. But I do it here with my husband, but I miss it. Honestly, I miss it because we used to gather with family. My aunts would come and we would all do fermented foods. We had a container that was about this big. I think it was 30 gallons.
Wow.
We would all cut vegetables small, and some pieces are pretty big, like whole pieces of broccoli, carrots, onions, and then you just throw it in there actually with salt and water. You don't add anything else.
Nothing else is needed, right?
And then it would stay outside in winter, and then it would ferment basically in the basement.
Yeah, the salt just keeps everything controlled, and then the bacteria do everything else, right? How beautiful. What a beautiful tradition. And fermented foods are so rich in nutrients, B vitamins, many anti-cancer factors in them are in there. The fiber and the protein are all more bioavailable after bacterial action. And they're preserved. So in the old days, they didn't even have refrigerators. This was how they were able to not starve themselves every winter.
Right.
Yeah, they survived on it. They would die otherwise. No vitamin C, they'd get scurvy. There's no trees, no plants that are not very many edibles. So they relied on these fermented vitamin C sources.
For sure. Can you talk a little bit more about protozoa, basically parasites in the body, and they affect the weight as well, because when we
absolutely
have pathogens in our gut, it causes our thyroid also to function lower. It
absolutely
slow down digestion. We are mineral and vitamin depleted. Could you talk a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. So we do different testing, right? Just like you, stool kit testing as well as organic acid testing. And we can see certain patterns which would indicate something's growing there. Parasite testing in this country, as you know, is not optimal. They're not very accurate, sensitive, or specific. And honestly, you only need a little bit of a worm in your small intestine and you can lose all your health. It doesn't take a lot. And if you have one little worm, you usually have like 3 or 5 other ones, but they're not going to show up on testing. They just evade the testing, whether it's stool, or biopsy. You don't need a lot and it can create all this disease. When we have really great probiotics, it really doesn't matter how many parasites we have. Studies show healthy centenarians and ruralists and hunter-gatherers like Maasai and those that live in ancient countries without running water or toilets, they have tons of parasites in the Amazons and the rainforest. They have tons of parasites, but it doesn't affect their health. They don't get chronic diseases or cancers or diabetes or heart disease. They have plenty of good flora. They still eat their ancestral foods, fermented foods, and condiments. They, eat unprocessed foods, not like we do. So I'm not all about like annihilating all the parasites, but because we travel now, our food travels from other countries, we are exposed to higher amounts of pathogen burden. And it's not a problem, but the problem is when we don't have the good stuff. So it is necessary to lower those burdens a little bit, or a lot sometimes, and let the body heal and not become loose anymore. Studies show when we get looseness of the gut, well, permeability, we call it, or leaky gut, people instantly have higher blood sugars and insulin resistance. So some people will get fatter, overweight. Others they'll be lean still, but they're fat lean, right? Skinny fat. Yeah, and they don't put on muscle very well. And they can have all kinds of overgrowths in the gut and not enough of the good flora. So our job at the Gut Institute is to shift all that. We do testing. We generally work with 4 phases. The first phase, we look at parasites and address things. The second phase, we look at we go big to small. So the next size is fungal, and fungal is rampant. Pretty much everybody has a fungal overload. Is it a big deal? Yeah. And it's usually very silent, very hard to diagnose unless you pull an organic acid test. So we do that and we track that. The third size is more bacterial. And do people have a problem with that? Yeah, pretty much everybody. So it's a combination of many things, right? And after our health goes down, we have viruses, and that's one of the smallest viruses, and then spirochetes, intracellular bacteria, EBV, co-infections. So we do that last. That's the 4th phase. So we look at different cases and see what's dominant, and then we work on certain things throughout all 4 phases. Like sometimes people have a tremendous viral load, whether it may be, so I'll name a couple, but the audience hopefully won't get too overwhelmed or anything, but like CMV, parvo, HHV6, EBV, if it's not one, it'll be the other. If it's usually one, then there's usually 3 or 4 or 5 others, depending on how ill someone might be or how fatigued they might be. Yeah. And for weight loss, what we see is when we address things, almost instantly people start to lose weight. Wow. Like when we address parasites, yeah, that's their big issue. That's when they start to lose weight. I've had some clients, just the first week or two, they lose 5-10 pounds of water weight. And then through our encouragement, for 10,000 steps a day, some gentle exercise, a little bit of weightlifting once a week, they can, reach their goals where they may be losing 10, 20, pounds, or if they want, 30, 40 pounds with that. And there are reasons why someone's weight loss may be halted. We try to look into the root issue of that. Yeah. Which can be many, right? As you know, it could be like mental stress or the whole gamut. All 4 phases need to go into place. Could be even brain injury, as you know, because once we hit our head with a concussion, and a lot of my MMA fighters have had that, have had damage where they've been hit, and so when the brain gets hit, and it may get inflamed a little bit, instantly the gut breaks. So all athletes, if they've had that, or any of my moms or executives or athletes, or people who are executives, that can be a big problem. That will cause gut problems and unknown food allergies and other conditions, fatigue and body fat issues. So we can do a lot to help resurrect the brain. That helps actually weight loss.
And you work with hormones as well, right?
Yes, we do. We one of our tenets of our rapid recovery for people is that we are simultaneously helping hormones and the adrenal axis, and then helping the gut recolonize the terrain simultaneously.
Do you have any specific supplements for hormone health?
Oh, yes. We have 2 that we love. One is called Dragon Mojo, one of our signature products. It helps raise mojo. I love the Game of Thrones, so it's a theme based on Game of Thrones, how this Viking culture, they were able to, fight and shift their populations, and power is like such an amazing show with these big dragons. And we lose our mojo when we have stress. Stress basically steals the good steroids, and it leaves the not so great steroids. So a lot of men and women are dealing with estrogen dominance. Mm-hmm. And that affects weight loss. If you are estrogen dominant, you'll have big struggles with weight, even though you're doing all the right things. It's not you, it's this hormone balance. And the chemicals you talked about earlier, Joanna, they can cause a lot of estrogen dominance.
Yeah.
Flame retardants, heavy metals. Heavy metals are known as metalloestrogens. They literally irreversibly bind our estrogen receptors.
Yeah, in men and women.
And men and women, yes. Plastics, phthalates.
Yeah. And plastic bottles. Even buying foods that are stored in plastic containers.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So Dragon Mojo helps very quickly, and we add another product called Nano Mojo from Quicksilver, and we get a great complement of energy shifts. And for a lot of our clients, that's usually not enough. We have to go a little deeper and see what else is going on. But for instance, if women have PCOS and hair on their face, or men, if they complain of low testosterone, and they lose something called morning wood, the physiology function. If they wake up and there's no morning wood, that means there's a lot of steroid steal going on. There's a lot of stressors going on. So we try to relieve every one of them. We find them, target them, and start to relieve that. Usually our male clients, they didn't have much male physiology function, no morning wood in the morning. Usually in 2 weeks or less, all of it is 100% there.
They're like, oh, happy.
Yes, very happy, very happy. Maybe their partner not, but yes.
Do you recommend colonics at all, or enemas?
Because I don't have a brick and mortar, but some of my clients do ask me about it, and I'm not super opposed, but I'm not sure the whole benefits of it. Sometimes a coffee enema at home is very clearing if they have a lot of toxicity or die-off or herxomer. But colonics, it could be hit or miss. Sometimes there may be too much removal of good flora in the colon, and that may not be ideal for some people.
Okay. Do you go usually through a checklist where you see if they're using body care that contains any petrochemicals, or if they're using lipstick that has any kind of toxins?
That's a great thing to do. I actually personally don't do it, but we have some education. We kind of talk about it so they can start to be aware of it, and then we can send resource links if they're more interested about it. But that is entirely really a great thing to look at.
Yeah, because whatever we apply on our skin gets absorbed into the bloodstream
directly. Yes.
Our lipstick, anything that perfume loaded with heavy metals.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that has a huge impact on the gut too.
Absolutely, it can. Yeah. I mostly focus on the toxins in the gut. That's where I spend the majority of our efforts.
Okay.
From the toxic flora there, because of not enough of the good flora.
Mm-hmm. Do you do zeolite at all? Do you have clients take zeolite for detoxification, or doing gentle colon cleanses too?
We have some clients that do use zeolite. There's also the biobotanical GI detox. One of my favorite binders is known as Ultra Binder from Quicksilver. There's something called chitin in it. It's from the shellfish and crustacean shell, and insects have it. Traditionally, our kind, humans used to eat a lot of grub and little worms and insects. Like when I visit China, off the street, you can eat deep fried scorpions and grub and insects, right? Or any of the rainforest areas. And we don't have that as a protein source in our nations anymore. But we can get omega-3s from there, and we get this amazing prebiotic. So prebiotic is a superfood for gut flora. It's called chitin. And our body can change it into, it can convert to chitosan, and then our body can even further degrade it and adjust it to something even more super powerful known as chitin or chitosan oligosaccharides. And these are even better superfoods for all the gut flora that protect us and help us to stay lean, healthy, and happy. Well, there are a couple studies that show chitin helps with weight loss. And there's a couple supplements out there with chitin in it, but Ultra Binder has chitin. It actually binds heavy metals, mycotoxins, xenoestrogens, many other things, along with clay and charcoal in there. And we can get some really good clearance. Obviously, it can bind other things too, like good metals, right? I mean, not metals, but minerals like iodine, zinc, mag. These are are more nutrient rich minerals, and we don't really want to lose those too much. So when we do different protocols with people for detox, we're careful not to overdo that, because we're trying to establish, better nutrient patterns. But I love Ultrabinder. So we'll do like 1 or 2 bottles of it, or we'll do phases where it's like 3 days on, 4 days off, and do some gentle binding. And it helps with die-off sometimes.
Do you use any suppositories as well?
Not at this time, but some of our colitis patients, we do need to do it temporarily for acute flares when they're bleeding and having a lot of mucus or pain, and they make it on their own. Like really nice vitamin A and soothing aloe, aloe and other nutrients in there that can soothe the mucosal lining. A little bit of St. John's oil.
Good.
Yeah.
Do you use any specific oils that you like coconut oil, taking internally, flaxseed oils? Are there any specific ones that you suggest for the audience for gut?
For gut repair? The one I love, probably a lot of your speakers are going to talk about it too, is black cumin seed oil, the longevity seed. It's black, so it's super rich in phytonutrients and polyphenols that are awesome for the gut. It's a nutrient based dietary intervention. It's a food basically. So we'll use like 1 tablespoon or 2 tablespoons a day, but if they tolerate 1 or 2 teaspoons a day, that's really awesome. It's anti-H. pylori, anti-blastocystis, and black cumin seed oil. Yeah. And we even have some clients, it's a little bit anti-strep and staph. So a lot of eczema or psoriasis can respond really well to topical black cumin seed oil. Sometimes my clients have tried everything under the earth. We're healing their gut, but if they don't see changes with complete clearance of eczema and psoriasis, we'll have them dab a little on topically, and then it'll go away. And despite using everything for years and tried every product on the market, nothing worked. This topical black cumin seed oil will help.
And you can get
or even clear it.
Yeah, and you can get the seeds itself and just grind.
Yes, you can. Yeah.
They're delicious.
Oh yes, yeah. The oil is very tasty, and it does burn a little bit, but you can dilute it into salad dressing. Exactly, it's so delicious.
Yeah, I got that in my fridge.
Do you use the seeds at all? Do you eat the seeds?
Both.
Oh my God, that's awesome! Such great fiber in there and prebiotics.
Yeah, I have a dog.
That's why that's why you're so beautiful, Joanna, and your skin's just glowing.
You're so funny. No, I just had a lot of parasite infections when I traveled, when I did all my herbal studies.
Yeah.
And Costa Rica. So I do something every day to prevent getting them back, because that was very horrific to my body.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
So I do something with my family that we do on a daily routine, just a little bit here and there, and then once a year we do a parasite cleanse. That's very gentle.
That's a great idea. I do that too. Absolutely. Yeah. Awesome.
Good. Yeah.
What are some things that you do daily for prevention? So black cumin seed and the ground seed.
I have essential oils that I like to use.
Oh, nice.
I really take care of my gut flora more than anything, because it's an ecological system. Just like a pond, you need the bad guys and the good guys. It's just we want to keep them balanced.
Absolutely. That's beautiful.
Would you like to talk a little bit about the free gift that you offer to the audience?
Yes, we have an amazing little book. It's called Microbiome Magic. So you can learn all about, if you want more details about the gut and why we want to keep it healthy. And then if you're a nerd like me, we talk about some of the species and the phyla and genera that you might be interested in to learn what is a really good, great, healthy gut.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So everyone, please download it. It's going to be very educational. And please check out Dr. Grace Liu's website. It's thegutinstitute.com, right?
Yes, thegutinstitute.com.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much, Joanna, for having me on. It was such a pleasure.
I so appreciate your wisdom and helping all these people. We need to duplicate you more than anything.
It's been so fun. I could talk fermented foods and poop all day with you.
Oh, me too. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Thank you. Bye.